White House has not said, though we will hear from the press secretary really any minute now when she comes out to brief reporters. But it seems like the White House is deferring to party leaders right now as they are meeting, like Brian said, behind closed doors to go over this offer from McConnell and see if they're going to accept it or offer a counteroffer or proceed as they have been earlier in the day. And I think the big questions here that the White House is facing when it comes to this is this going to put Democrats in a politically uncomfortable position, like Brian was talking about, by setting a number here? And also, if they proceed with this, it would take away the argument that you've heard from the White House and Democrats, which is that there's not enough time to raise the debt ceiling by doing that reconciliation process. That's, of course, the much more complicated and cumbersome process that would take some time, that the president himself said yesterday that they were losing days to be able to go with that. And I think when you talk about why did McConnell make this offer, you also have to look at what President Biden told me last night, which is that it is a high possibility that they would consider changing the rules to the Senate filibuster in order to raise the nation's borrowing limit. That would be incredibly significant and seems to be playing a factor into McConnell's thinking here.
Caitlin, tell us about this meeting that President Biden convened with bank leaders and top CEOs. What was their message to him?
Well, essentially, the reason this was designed by the White House was to put more pressure on Republicans to help out here and to stop blocking Democrats in their efforts so far to raise the debt limit. So you saw the president earlier meeting with these top executives here at the White House, a meeting that they had really put together in about 36 hours or so, and they were saying that they wanted Mitch McConnell to let this pass, several of them weighing in and making that argument there. And so whether or not it actually works, Jake, is another question, because it's clear from Republicans they are not going to do this the way that has been done in previous years and as was done under Trump, which is where Republicans and Democrats voted together to raise the debt ceiling. But the president's argument was essentially just let Democrats raise it with just Democrats. And that is something that, of course, Republicans were expected to block this afternoon. So we'll see what the White House says in a few moments. I think they are waiting to see what, of course, the Senate Majority Leader himself decides.
All right, Caitlin Collins with the White House. Let's discuss this all with Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin of the great state of Wisconsin. She's on the Senate Appropriations Committee. Senator, let me ask you, you heard these compromise offers being made by the Minority Leader, Senator Mitch McConnell. Are either of them acceptable to you?
Well, in terms of a temporary lifting of the debt ceiling through close to the end of this year, we view that as a victory. We view it as a temporary victory, though, with more work to do. And he cannot dictate the process we use in order to do this. As was just noted, traditionally, this is something that Democrats and Republicans do together. And what we have made very clear is we understand we don't have any Republican votes to do the responsible thing and save our economy from calamity, but then just get out of the way and let us do it ourselves with 50 votes plus the vice president. You know, the other reason I believe that Mitch McConnell is trying to steer into this reconciliation process is because it takes us away from the main Biden Build Back Better agenda. We are working, as you know, day and night on the Build Back Better budget, and we want to pass that hand in hand with the bipartisan infrastructure package. We want to get moving on that, wrap it up by the end of this month. And I think that this is just an effort to try to trip us up and not let that happen. So we intend to take this temporary victory and then try to work with the Republicans to do this on a longer-term basis. And frankly, we're one of the few countries that has Congress act on the debt limit anyways. The full faith, full faith and credit of our nation is at stake. We pay our bills, and let's stop this sort of crazy way of doing it.
So you've talked to Senator Schumer. I mean, this is what the Democrats are going to do. You're going to accept this temporary measure to just extend, to delay this vote and raise the debt limit just a bit right now until something else can be worked out more long term.
So I believe that that's what we're going to do. I did have to step out of caucus a little early in order to talk with you and your viewers. But I think the only trip up would be if Mitch McConnell in any ways tries to dictate the process that Democrats use to get this done. That's a non-starter for us. We will not take our eyes off the prize and do reconciliation that could take well over 2 weeks, depending on on how expeditiously we can get it bouncing back between the House and the Senate, and then back to the House and back to the Senate.
Right.
This is a very time-consuming process, and we want to be working on the Build Back Better budget and the bipartisan infrastructure bill and get those across the finish line also.
Well, with all due respect, Senator, I don't think you guys are ready for a vote on the Build Back Better agenda yet. I mean, you were supposed to vote on it days ago, so I don't know what a 2-week delay in terms of the just for so our viewers understand. There's different processes by which a bill can be introduced in the Senate. The normal process requires 60 votes so as to stave off a filibuster. Republicans are saying they're not going to provide any votes. So the only other way that the Democrats could even have a proceeding on this is by using what's called reconciliation. And McConnell's saying you can use reconciliation. It would take a couple weeks, and the senator's objecting to that because that's 2 weeks that you say you want to be spending on the Build Back Better agenda. But you guys aren't ready for a vote on that.
Yes, but if we spend 2 weeks doing the reconciliation process on the debt limit, it will be 2 weeks that we're not able to make the sort of progress we need to on this Build Back Better budget, which is, that is responsive to very considerable challenges that our country is facing. It goes hand in glove with the bipartisan infrastructure bill, and we have some new parameters that became clear last week in terms of how to do it, but we want to go full speed ahead.
Senator Baldwin, don't go anywhere because I want to get reaction to what I'm about to say right now, because this afternoon we're getting a new look at how the American people think Joe Biden is doing as president, and these new poll numbers, frankly, are brutal for the president. In this brand new Quinnipiac poll, only 38% of Americans approve of how Biden is handling his job compared to 53% who disapprove. That's the lowest approval rating Biden has had since taking office. Another striking number, only 39% of Americans approve of Biden's handling of the economy. 55% say they disapprove of the job he's doing on the economy. And when asked, is Joe Biden an honest president? 44% of Americans say yes. 50%, plurality, say no. And one of the most damning results of all, more than half of the American people, 55%, say the Biden administration is not competent in running the government. 42% says the administration is. Now I'm going to bring back Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin of Wisconsin. Senator Baldwin, there's no sugarcoating. These numbers are awful for President Biden. Do you understand why Americans are growing increasingly frustrated, at least according to this and other polls?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we have yet to deliver the Build Back Better legislation and agenda in the Congress. Granted, we did an incredible job in passing and compiling the American Rescue Plan, which has gotten shots in arms and given stimulus. But we need to go from stimulus to investment in infrastructure, investment in our workers, investment in lowering the costs that working families are exposed to, and lowering middle class and working class taxes by extending the child tax credit and paying for it all by raising taxes on the billionaires and profitable corporations that are getting away without paying taxes or paying not close to their fair share. And that's what will change this around.
Well, I'm sure that you think that, but you know, you guys control the House, you control the Senate, you control the White House. This is Democratic infighting preventing the infrastructure bill and the Build Back Better agenda from coming up for a vote in the Senate. And frankly, it's the Senate more than it is the House, although the House is, I guess, the House progressives are holding the infrastructure bill captive. But in any case, this is your party that is preventing this from happening.
Look, it's going to happen. We believe that failure is not an option. They say if you like sausage and you like laws, don't watch either one of them get made. It's going to be messy, I promise you. But I believe we're going to get the job done.
Do you worry at all that these numbers could signal how much trouble Democrats could be in, not just this November with, for instance, the governor's race in Virginia, but in 2022, when a bunch of Democratic senators are up for re-election, as I don't need to remind you, the midterms are there, and ultimately, I mean, do you think that the people who are the 10 or 12 Democrats in the House and Senate, or I guess it's more than that, but let's say 50 or 60 Democrats in the House and Senate that are not willing to compromise as of now? Do you think that they realize, like, you keep doing more of this, you're not going to control anything?
Well, again, that's why we want to have our eye on the prize during the month of October, which is just beginning. We want to get the Build Back Better budget through both houses and the bipartisan infrastructure. And let me add in USICA, the Innovation and Competitiveness Bill. We want to get all of those on the president's desk, and I think things will turn around a lot when that happens.
But do you think Manchin and Sinema and Pramila Jayapal and Ilhan Omar and Congressman Pocan, and do you think they're all going to come on board eventually?
I do.
All right, Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin of great state of Wisconsin, thank you so much. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
The House committee investigating January 6th cannot find a former Trump aide to serve him his subpoena. Where is Dan Scavino? Also, Canada has a new travel requirement for children. What is it? Would the U.S. be next? Stay with us.